Well, because we're reverent, okay? And we're not professionals. We are far from professionals. But, we started the podcast because of my own mental health breakdown, right? And
Yes.
never in a million years did we think that people would listen to us. We thought it'd be like 100 people and be done. But, we've had a little over 300,000 downloads
It's
since
incredible.
we went live in February of 2023, and we're listened to in over like 60 countries.
Mm,
And our sole mission is to normalize how we talk about mental health
absolutely.
because it is such an important conversation now, probably more than any other time in our lifetimes.
Absolutely. Hmm. And that's
Right.
incredible. I mean, and I think that is so important. It is okay to not be okay. And you guys say that at the end of your podcast. It's okay not to be okay, but make sure that you're talking to someone. And it's so powerful. And this conversation needs to happen. And I love your vulnerability. And I feel like it is just like you're saying, now more than ever, we need to talk about this. Um, Gretchen, I want to talk more about 988 if you don't mind. I think that it is such a powerful resource, but I love the story that you have because I was saying in our latest podcast, I can be so clinical about it. And I can say, there's 988. And I'm glad that we're saying that. I'm glad that we're telling people about it. But I would love for you to share your story about 988 and how impactful and how powerful it was.
Sure. So on Christmas Day 2022, I had a massive mental breakdown. Um, I'm 60 years old, so my entire life I've been told, you shove that down as far as it can go. You don't talk about it until there was like no place else for it to go. And then I was just done. On the outside I looked fine, life was good. But on the inside, all I wanted to do was be done. So I picked up the phone and called 988, and they were amazing. They picked up the phone right away. They didn't ask for my name, didn't ask for my location. They just wanted to talk to me and figure out kind of what was going on. And they gave me a lot of really good, useful, information so that I could get into therapy the very next day. The person on the other end was incredibly, incredibly helpful. And, I was fortunate my wife was home at the time, and there was a guardian angel that said it really wasn't my time to go. And I can look back now and I will tell you that I am so much happier on this side of depression because the very next day I was in therapy.
Mm.
And I was also calling Dirty Skittles, who at the time was my manager. We use that term loosely, but we we would just laugh. So for me, calling 988 was crucial to my recovery because without them, I don't think I would have been here today. And I heard of another resource last night. I was watching a TV show, and there's a place you can, if you don't live in the States, if you live outside of the States, you can reach out to find help. It's findhelpline.org.
Mm.
We were watching a TV show last night where they were talking about um, suicide, and actually, it was Grey's Anatomy.
Mm.
Last night's episode of Grey's Anatomy, when they were had a intern that was having suicidal thoughts. So they came out after the show. 988. I I can't tell you enough about it. We actually have a guest coming on, um, like either this week or next month, that actually works on the 988 helpline. They can't really talk about what they do, but her story to get there was super, super. It, it it's heartwarming.
Wow.
Um, I and even if you don't have suicidal thoughts, they are there to help you find the resources you need to get through to the next day or the next minute or the next second. They will stay with you on the line for as long as you need to be on the line with them. And I'm so thankful that they were there. It's such an incredible resource for all of us.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And I love how you're sharing the accessibility of it and that they don't ask for your name and it's okay. It's okay. And I think that that's what's so important for us to know, that it's not just a number and you're going to be like calling I don't know. I feel like I was maybe under the impression that like, oh, like it's going to be just so kind of black and white. And it's truly so helpful for society, for the state of mental health. And we have to keep telling people about this and sharing stories like yours, Gretchen, and sharing that this truly was a lifesaver and that they stayed on the line. They talked with you. They treated like you like a person, not just like I don't know, I like a case or something, if that makes sense. Like I feel like it's incredible. It's incredible what you guys are doing, which brings me to another point. And welcome, Charlene. Thanks for joining.
Hey.
Dirty Skittles. I should say Dirty Skittles.
It's okay.
I love y'all's stage names. Yeah. With humor. Like, I think that you guys have the best combination of talking about serious things like this and important things and things that we need to spread awareness of, but also with just this incredible ease and this incredible hilarity that I just love. And what would you say about like, why do you feel like humor is so important with mental health and just in general?
I can chime in for myself. I think that some of the darkest moments I've had in my life, if I didn't have humor, whether it was dark humor or not, I don't know that I would have had much else to grasp onto. You know, like when it gets dark, it gets dark. And being able to almost find like something funny or something to lighten my own personal mood has always helped me. I don't know if it's a defense mechanism or if it's just survival mode, but if I can find something to lighten my mood, it's been easy to find humor in something.
Yes, absolutely. I think that, that play, I don't know I guess play, like humor, play, all of that type of stuff, like it's underrated, right? Like it is so helpful. And sometimes that is what you need to keep moving forward and to not just kind of get stuck in the sea of thoughts and all of that, I think can really, I don't know, for me, sometimes, like you're saying, Charlene, it's like the only thing you can kind of turn to sometimes. And which you guys, I know we had talked about in our episode, the other day about it's just like sitting around a campfire, which that's what I love about, like, I can listen to you and just immediately like feel like I'm in a better mood because it's like I'm BFFs and we're like doing all sorts of like just talking about crazy stuff together and it's amazing.
Right. That's what we wanted. I mean, that's what I wanted. I wanted it to just be organic and natural and not have too much pressure because especially when you're talking about heavier topics, we needed that balance. So I'm happy that's across.
Absolutely. Yep. And we talked about peeing off a Grand Canyon in the last episode. So tune in. I'll put the link. Tune in if you want to hear about all of our thoughts on that. So
I love it.
I was recording a podcast the other day and he said, "What's the funniest podcast episode you've had?" And it's like, well, I'm going to have to say, I talked about, my brother peeing off the Grand Canyon the other day.
I love that.
And you could tell that was not what he was expecting to hear.
Right, exactly.
So, but it is those type of conversations though, right? Now, tell us more about this podcast, this incredible podcast that you have, and like the guests that you've had. What have you learned along the way? What has inspired you? And I would just love to hear more because you guys just really have been so just incredible over the past year with the success, and well deserved. It really, y'all do such an amazing, genuine job.
Thanks.
Well, it all kind of started as a whim, right? Who knew we would have as many listeners as we do, but we started it because I needed an outlet, right? So Dirty Skittles and I were, we worked together. We worked at a very stressful job, and we would start every day with just laughing, right? Laughing, 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 because that just like sets your endorphins at a high and kind of helps you get through some of the rough parts of the day. And we really just when we first started, it was just the two of us. We interviewed a lot of friends and family, and then all of a sudden, out of the woodwork, like we get all these really amazing people, right? And it's not like actors and actresses. It's normal, everyday people that wanted to share their mental health journeys. And man, we have learned so much. I have more self-help books than I've ever had in my entire life. We every episode is, it's kind of a crapshoot of what we're going to get, and it's never scripted. All our questions are just questions that come up during that conversation. It's a lot of fun. It really is, and it's engaging, and like it's kind of therapy for us too, right? It's free therapy if you think about it, and we learn so much from our guests. And man, like not our last episode, but the episode before that with like Ruth, like just her determination to like find that solution that was going to help her get to that better place. And like KK and Marcy, going through sobriety. Dirty Skittles' dad came on, Crazy Eight. He's a therapist, and just listening to his insight on how we share these stories, because it's really, really important. We've heard time and time again that it's easier to share that story over a microphone than it is face to face. People feel so much better that they could actually get that shit out of their head, right? Because that's where a lot of that sits, right? It's so heavy on your heart and so heavy on your head. And, just giving them that outlet, because we get to tell the stories that nobody else wants to talk about. But there's somebody else on the other end that's listening to that, and they don't feel so alone and so terrified in their own journey, because that's exactly how I felt. I was terrified. When I went through my mental breakdown, I didn't have a voice. I couldn't find my voice. I couldn't find my footing. I couldn't even tell my wife what was going on, because I didn't know how to explain what was going on.
Yeah.
A year and a few months later, I'm in such a better place now. But I couldn't do this without Dirty Skittles, because she really is the yin to my yang. And yeah, we're a little irreverent sometimes, but we do it in a respectful way.
Yes.
And we let people share what they want to share. We've had a couple of triggering episodes, and we always put a trigger warning out in front of that episode. But we just meld. We melded when we worked together, and we meld now. We're really fortunate that we get to do this.
And you give me credit, but it's all you, bud. Like, your hard work. Like, I'm so proud of you for where you are today. Like, I can't. It's so surreal. It's so surreal to like hear you say it, because I'm like, you did this. Like, you put in the work. I'm so proud of you. So, yeah, congrats goes to you, buddy.
Yeah, and the other part of this too is that I started sharing on social media what I was going through also. And no sooner did I do that people were reaching out and thanking me, because now they didn't feel so lonely, right? Now they understand that, hey, man, there's somebody else going through this. And for people that knew me, they had no freaking idea how depressed I was. None. I hid it well.
Yeah. And I think you sharing your story like that, and especially the people that were close to you and that knew you, outside of the podcast world, it it was very eye-opening, and it was very, I think we helped a lot of people, especially on the other side, that don't know that everybody has a story. And that's like our guests. Everyone has a story, and you would never know unless you asked. So for me, listening to everybody talk about their life and just their challenges and things that they're going through, and techniques or things that help them, I completely selfishly take that as a lesson, right? Like, I learned something in every single episode. And for me, I think that's the blessing, is like, not ever in a million years would I think I had a podcast, let alone that I would be able to learn from our guests every single time we talk. So it's therapy for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you had asked us like 2 years ago if this was on the vision board, no. But neither was a mental breakdown. So there was a lot that went into that. But we're fortunate that we get to do this, and we record one Saturday a month. We do 4 episodes, but we've also recorded people from the UK. We've recorded people from Australia. So many, men, women. We also, had Jen and her son Alex on. He has an autoimmune deficiency. So, getting to talk to those people and letting them share what's going on and being able to give people resources. That's actually something I'm working on with the website right now. I'm going back to season 1, putting in all the resources from each of the guests so that people have some place to go and not search the internet trying to look for information. I think that's so important because it's overwhelming, right? Like, you type in like mental health and like you get back 80,000 websites. Well, which one should I be using? Where can I get the help? But I'm going to tell you, if you're super depressed and you don't know where to turn to, pick up the phone and call 988. There's somebody on the other end that will help you, and they are so empathetic and so welcoming and so helpful. I can't say enough about them.
Incredible. Yes. It's such good points. And it's such an amazing resource. And I love that you're going back through all your episodes and like kind of getting all those resources in one in one area, because there is so much out there. Like you're saying, if you search mental health, there's just so much. But how can we, and I almost like, I think when, or at least for me, when I'm feeling down or whatever, I don't really want to keep searching, like, and then it'll get me into some rabbit holes of worst case scenarios, most likely. And then I'm like worse off than so to have a source that you can go to, I think is so helpful. And then again, like with 988, I put a link on the chat too, to their website, because like you can call, text, it's in English and Spanish 24/7. And I'm super excited to listen to your episode with the person who works on 988, because I just I want to say, and I guess correct me if I'm wrong, Dwight, if you're listening in, he was with us earlier this morning. He has a podcast episode on his Broken Brain podcast where he talks about the history of 988, which I thought was super interesting, because I didn't know, much about how it came about. And have you guys learned anything about that, or anything that you wanted to share about it?
I just know that like over the it's been only a couple of years since that number's been out, because they had to come up with a national number, because I'm not sure if the listeners know this, but there's a high percentage of teens these days that are committing suicide, and parents just didn't have the resources to help their kids. Also in the LGBTQIA community, the numbers are skyrocketing. And so I want people to realize that that this is a phone number you can call and you can get help.
Yes. Absolutely.
And it's free. You don't have to pay anything. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call 988.
I love this mission. And I wish, Gretchen, I could like put, we need to like keep pushing this mission out and this awareness of 988 out and getting it out. And I think it is, we're talking more about it, but just more about it and more, like you're saying, it's so important. Mental health, there's a mental health crisis, and it's like you guys say, it's okay not to be okay, but just make sure that you're talking to someone, and this is someone to talk to. And I truly, and I think we had talked about this in our last episode, but I truly, truly feel like that pond in Acadia that you guys are, and all of us as moms are doing this. But when we have a mission, when we are passionate about something, which is, I can see and feel so much of this passion, which is so important. That you're dropping these pebbles into this pond, like you're making this ripple effect. And when I was in Acadia, I saw this child throw this pebble into a pond, and it just, the sunlight and how it was shining on these ripples, it was just beautiful. And I took a picture of that because it's so important to remember that we are so powerful, and your story is so powerful. All of our stories are powerful. We have more power than we realize. And I'm just so thankful, Gretchen, that you are doing what you're doing. I'm so thankful, Charlene, that you're doing what you're doing. You guys are just incredible. So it's my honor to be able to have you guys on here and talk about such an important topic.
Just gonna crawl into my hoodie now. No,
I know, I get like that too, right? When someone says something, it's like, oh,
I have to say though,
it's just social awkwardness.
Yeah, no, me too. I get it.
Yeah, I'm not socially awkward anymore. You know, when she turns 60, you just don't really care about that anymore. But I will say one of the things that I have noticed, probably over the last year and a half, is that more corporations are taking this seriously. Right? There's so much burnout. You know, they need to. They're working on like their mental wellness strategy, and you know, it's okay to be depressed. It really is. It's okay to say that you're depressed. Bottling that up helps no one, especially the person yourself. And you know, I learned the hard way, but I'm so thankful to be here today. I'm so thankful to be alive because life has been so much better.
Yeah. We shouldn't have to hide what we feel.
No, never.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a hard lesson. I'm good now.
Yeah. No,
I'm proud of you.
I'm so proud of you too. Absolutely. I don't know. Well, when I was talking earlier, I just love this analogy, and maybe I'm sure I've said this to you guys before. I like repeat it all the time, but I love it about the fall and the fall colors and how the beauty of yellows and golds are in the leaves all along. And it's chlorophyll, the green color, that is what's masking it, which is great. It's producing food and all that, but it's a decreased sunlight. It's coldness, it's darkness that brings out these beautiful colors. And I think that's just so incredible to think about, because we, we go through, life is hard, and but there is beauty in what we learn and what we can share with others and how we can share our story and advocate for everyone and for the community to make this world a better place.
And you know, that kind of leads me to this quote that I saw the other day, and it really resonated with me because it's really what our podcast is about. And the quote is, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is give voice to your struggles. Sharing your story might just be the key to unlock someone else's prison. You know, that's us in a nutshell, right? We want to give people a platform where they can share their story, right? And we don't want people to feel alone and terrified in their own journey, and give them those resources that they need so they can keep contributing to society.
Yep. And I can relate to that because there are times where somebody has been on the podcast sharing their story and they nail an emotion that I couldn't ever put words to. And as soon as they say it, I'm like, oh, like you feel a release. You're like, that's exactly what I'm feeling, but you don't know how to say it sometimes. So
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yes, 100%. You guys really are. Yeah, like the helping with the self-imposed prisons that we struggle with. It reminds me, there's a book, I think Lori Gottlieb, she has this kind of beautiful illustration of us being our own jailers, as she calls it, and how we sometimes will just keep feeling like there's walls around us, but these walls aren't necessarily there, but we feel like they're there. We're our own jailers, and you guys are helping us. You're helping with that. You're helping us see that you can break free by sharing your story, and it's beautiful. It really is. And I don't know. I don't have any other words other than to say you guys are awesome, and I really I encourage anyone who's listening to this to check out all of your incredible resources. And as we wrap up here, Gretchen and Charlene, or G-Rex and Dirty Skittles, can you please share where we can find you? And I have in the chat box all the information, but if you can also verbally say it as well, so we can definitely check out all the incredible resources you have.
Sure. Because, not only am I the co-host, but I'm the business manager, aka social media manager.
All the things. You're everything.
So yeah, let me reel that off for you. Our website is www.goesoninourheads.net. We are also on Instagram, and that one's a little harder. So it's shit, but it's SH letter, the number 1 that goes on our heads. And the same for Facebook. And you can find us on Twitter. Twitter is it's the initials of our name. So it's STGOIH. Yeah.
I didn't even try to help. I was like, let her work it.
Let her do it.
And then we're also out on YouTube, and we're really trying to grow that channel.
And TikTok.
Oh, and TikTok. That's right. I forgot. We're on TikTok. So not my genre. I'm going to hire a high schooler to help us out with that, because
there you go. Oh yeah.
And we are not professionals at all, right? No. But we have both been depressed. We both had, our been through therapy, and I guess just on one final note is that if you're going to therapy and it's not working for you, don't give up. There are so many different modalities of therapy out there that I'm certain you'll find something that works for you, but just don't give up on it. Keep looking for that thing that helps you feel better.
Yeah. Speed date your therapist is what I say.
Yep.
It took me 3. It took me 3 to find the one. I would have given up.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's so important. I think that's such an important thing that we've talked about today, is we really do, it's okay to not just, if it's not working with a provider, then just, it's okay. And if the provider is offended by that, then you probably shouldn't have been with them to begin with,
Right. Yeah.
So, there's there don't give up. And it's I say again, it's okay to not be okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much
for having us.
Oh, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure. I hope you have an amazing time at your concert, or your, is it a concert or a talk?
It's a comedian.
Yes. And I need to check her out as well. So, yes, have an amazing time. And Charlene, I hope you have a lovely day as well. And I hope you all both, oh my God, I've been talking too long today. I can't talk. Sorry. But I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank